All right, Vetters. Patrick here with Vetted. I am joined by special guest Gino, producer of the Y-Files. What's up, Gino?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, Pat.
All right. So we're going to be jumping into some clips, right, that are out here on the net about UFOs and sort of catch up. And I thought it would just be fun. We got Gino here. We're just going to raw dog these. That may not be the right expression I should be using right now with you right next to me, but we're going to raw dog these clips. We haven't seen most of them, but I have collated them. And look, the first thing we're going to do, let's just jump into this, okay? We're going to jump into an interview with Rick Doty that Chris Ramsey did, where at the very end of the interview, Chris asked Rick Doty, tell me 2 truths, 1 lie. Take a look.
Can you give me 2 truths and a lie?
2 truths and a lie.
And I won't attempt to guess anything, and we'll just leave it at that. So you can say,
okay,
whatever.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We actually played this game in intelligence operations course.
Interesting.
To each other for a psychological test. Yeah.
All right. So now that you understand what this is, we've all played this game, 2 truths, 1 lie. Well, Gino and I went to see Chris Ramsey in Tucson, Arizona, live recently. And Chris had told us before this interview came out, we knew that this interview was coming out. He told us he had recorded it with them, this 4-hour interview. And he told us about this moment, this 2 truths, 1 lie. Well, Chris revealed at the live show, hanging out with Gino and I, what the answers here, essentially. What were the truths and what were the lies? Now, in the video, in the interview, you don't get to hear that. So this is some insider information here. Okay. So just to make this fun, I will say that Rick Doty did not play by the rules.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise. Okay. So that just to let you know. All right. But what we're going to do is we're going to play all 3 stories. And then Gino's going to guess because he doesn't remember Chris saying
the answer. Yeah.
The answer at the show. Right. But I did. I heard it. And telling us. So let's play all 3 stories. You decide 2 truths, 1 lie. And remember, Rick Doty is not playing by the rules. So then we'll come back and we'll tell you which one's the lies, which one's the truths. Here we go.
In 1980, I was driving from in New Mexico. I was stationed in New Mexico. I was driving from one place to another to pick up a good friend of mine. He came in at an airport that wasn't an Albuquerque airport, okay? And along the way, after I picked him up, it was Santa Fe. I was coming back in Interstate 25, and he said he pointed to Sandia Crest, which is a big mountain there. I don't know if you've been to Albuquerque, and he said, "There's a tram that goes up there, right?" I said, "Yeah. There's a tram, real important tram." He said, "Can you take me up there?" I said, "Sure." So as we turned to go up that road, we see the tram going up, and above the tram was this object following the tram up to the top of the mountain. Okay. In about 1965, I wrestled in high school, and I was we were wrestling our rival school, and the wrestling programs for the school was really a rival. You know, one match we'd beat them, they'd beat us. And as if you know about wrestling, you start at the lower weights and you work up. And I was at the 130-pound class, and I was wrestling he was a runner-up to state the year earlier. And we were tied at that point because we had other matches ahead. And I wrestled this guy, and I beat him I beat him at almost, because it's 3-minute rounds. The 3rd round, I came within a second of pinning him. I get the predicament, which is a point, and I win by 1 point. Let me see. This would have been in 2000. 2014, I went to Laos. I was involved with this group that was still looking for POWs in Laos. And I went to Laos with this group of people to go to a certain location to try to find evidence of whether these POWs that were at this site, was called Lima Site 85, was any remnants of it, or because the site had been excavated by the military before. So I went there with this group, and we found some, not remains, but we find some evidence of something that had occurred there. There's my 3 stories.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I'll let the audience decide. Maybe leave your comments below, 1, 2, or 3. Which one is the lie?
All right. Now you've heard all 3 stories. If you need to go back and listen to them, that you do that on your own time. All right. So we've heard all 3 stories, and they're long stories. You know, typically when people play that game, they're like a quick thing they did or didn't do. You know, I scaled K2. I went, running with the bulls. I went to Antarctica. Like that quick, they say 3 things. Rick Doty's like, let me take 20 minutes to tell you 3, which makes it kind of hard.
And so I would say for the audience, we should summarize in a sentence 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So number 1, he picks someone up, they go up a mountain, something's floating above the car.
Yeah.
Number 2, he is a high school wrestler. And
beats a guy by 1 point.
In the champion for the best wrestler.
He was like state champion the year before.
Right.
Or runner-up.
And number 3.
All right. So the Laos story is the 3rd one.
So the 3rd story would be he traveled to Laos
to save some POWs.
To see if there was evidence of the POWs ever being there. Yeah. So for do you want me to go straight into the analysis?
Just tell us what is your guess, and then if you want to break down why you chose them. But I don't want to spend too long on this.
I'm going to make it very, very simple.
Because we got a lot of clips to cover.
2 truths and a lie.
But remember, he didn't play by the rules.
I understand. I think what you do, if you want to be the best way to play this game as the storyteller, you almost tell the truth and everything, but you change one thing. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say the 2 truths are going to be the second 2 stories. The reason, and the first story of him seeing something flying in the air. The reason why I picked that is it's the only esoteric thing out of the stories. Yeah. The other stuff is something he's proud of as a child that happened in his life. The third thing is an operation that for sure the military runs. The one thing we can't be sure of is that something was flying in the air, because that is not provable. You could prove that he went to high school. Yeah. You could prove that he wrestled. You could prove that he has a military record and did stuff. I'm going to say UFO in the air has to be the lie, because there's no way that there's any proof of that.
All right. I'm going to tell you, the audience, and Gino, what Chris told us. Okay, this is what Chris. This is what Chris said. He said he told Rick Doty that all 3 were a lie, and that Rick Doty confirmed it. So Rick Doty lied on all 3 of them, basically to sort of, again, not play by the rules of the game. Mm-hmm. Sort of try to trick Chris Ramsey. But all 3 of those, Rick Doty said, were lies.
Right. So again,
could be one thing's a lie. This is off. This other thing's off. Sure.
Right. So again,
did he wrestle? But he just didn't wrestle this guy. Did he go to Laos? He just didn't deal with this POW thing.
Did he pick up his friend and go up a mountain? Did he pick up his friend?
He just didn't see anything. Yeah, exactly.
So again, I go with, but the obvious is a UFO. Yeah. There's no UFO in the rest of the stories.
All right. So look, let's move on. Hopefully he played the game. Hopefully that was fun. And doesn't surprise me that Rick Doty lied. And there we go. Anyway, check out that interview with Chris Ramsey. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. All right, let's move on to the next clip. This is of Tom Delonge. All right, so he's back in the news. He hardly has said anything in recent times. And being a part of the 2017 To the Stars Academy, I mean, we all know Tom DeLonge's, involvement in UFOs. So for him to come out and say what he's about to say in this clip is kind of interesting. Take a look.
I'd love to get your opinion on the declassified UAP files we've gotten in the last few years, just because I think you're an interesting person to talk about that.
It's a big deal. I'm an active consultant on all of that stuff right now with the U.S. government, and it's just the beginning. I think we should get some of that in the show. I do remember we talked about a lot of Bigfoot ideas in this show, and the UFO stuff, I think that'd be a really good idea as well. I think there's a lot of places we can go with the show, but yes, as far as that topic, yeah, there's a lot more coming. This is just beginning.
Holy crap, that's cool.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting Tom DeLonge to say that. So let's confirm the facts that we just heard there.
Mm-hmm.
Tom DeLonge is saying that he is consulting with the U.S. government for these tranches that are coming out, and that there's a lot more coming. Right? Is that the gist of what you heard?
That's how I would summarize it.
Okay. What do you think of that?
Well, one, if he's consulting, is he being paid to consult? What is the capacity of consulting? Is it the consulting the same way they call Jeremy Corbell in once in a while to be in a skiff, or not that Jeremy's done that, but people get called into skiffs. Where is it happening?
How much consulting?
Right.
Essentially, right? Yeah, I agree.
And who is the contact?
Who's he dealing with?
Is it Lou Elizondo that is contacting him, which I believe he's had interaction with?
Sure.
So is that what we're talking about, consulting? Where
is it tertiary consulting? He's consulting with certain people, and they are the ones connecting with the White House.
That's right. That's what I'm getting to.
Or is he directly?
Right.
I mean, he does have direct connections. At least he did in the past. Does he in the current administration? That's a good question. That's a good question.
Now, as far as him saying there's a lot more coming out, I think I've been vocal about it this whole time, that everything that's going to come out is just going to be just add confusion to disclosure, because it's all stuff they haven't been able to figure out yet. So we shouldn't be able to figure it out yet. However, they have stuff that they're aware of. They have things that are knowns. They have vehicles. They have, craft. They have possibly biologics, possibly bodies, bipedal. If you believe David Grusch and the other whistleblowers that are working with the government, then I feel like what Tom is saying seems more like a government mouthpiece than the truth. Because if he wanted the truth of everything, I think he would be disappointed in what we've seen. I don't know anyone in our community that isn't disappointed.
I'm curious of how much he's involved and what it means for the stuff coming out. I don't think anything's great is coming out, so I don't really know what that means, because I've already said the best has already come out. So I don't, who do we trust on this? So who knows? Whatever. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is Eric Davis. Okay, Dr. Eric Davis, he recently went on Newsnation and he said some interesting things. Let's take a look.
What would you need from the president in order for this to happen?
Well, I would need the standard form 312 intelligence NDA to be waived. That way I could talk about top secret SCI information about UAP evidence that I have seen in person, which are records, photographs, reports, and so forth. And those are still classified, and they are not subject to the Freedom of Information Act, because it'll probably be, they're probably classified for a 50 to 70 year period, 75-year period, I believe.
Okay, so we got Dr. Eric Davis talking about, what Trump needs to do to free him to be able to talk about the records he's seen in person. I don't know what that really matters if they're just records. But he's not saying he's seen anything in person, but he's seen records of aliens and UFOs, right, essentially. Sort of like the same claims David Grusch has made, except Dr. Eric Davis is saying he's seen them in an official capacity, and David Grusch is saying that he's seen them in an unofficial capacity, which is changes a lot about Grusch. He's never done anything like this, right? Like everything else was part of his investigation, the 40 witnesses, working for Burlison, everything in official capacity. So it's very unusual for David Grusch to go that way. But I do have a clip of David Grusch coming up next. But what do you think about Dr. Eric Davis, what he's saying there? What he needs Trump to do for him to talk?
Well, this sort of connects back to what I was saying previously about the tranches. They're releasing tranches of things that are confusing, that could be balloons, that could be all sorts of things. Here we have Eric Davis saying, in an official capacity, I've seen photographic evidence that's obviously convincing enough to him that he feels like the rest of the world should see it. So here's my issue again with the tranches. Why are we dealing with the unknowns when we have people directly saying we have knowns that everyone should see? So let's lift the classification and
give Dr. Eric Davis what he wants.
Yeah.
And let's see what he has to say.
Look,
Let's get past it.
There's less than 20 people who are vocal about their high up status and what they've seen in the government and are willing to talk about. It's not like Trump or any government official has to say, all right, we're letting these 500 people go out and tell 1 million stories. How many people I could maybe name less than 10 that I want to hear everything from.
Yeah.
And Eric Davis is one of them.
Let's go to, I think this is David Grusch.
My name is David Grusch. I'm a former career Air Force intelligence officer and former senior official at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. I've already provided classified testimony and evidence to the Intelligence Community Inspector General and Congress about what I learned about unidentified anomalous phenomenon and the involvement of the United States, allied nations, and adversary governments in the retrieval of technology of unknown origin. This included photographs and videos of these operations, including the craft and the non-human occupants. And I've seen this evidence with my own eyes, and I've had these discussions with our nation's most senior leaders in a classified environment. I am prepared to provide a full historical accounting to the National Security Council principals and the White House Chief of Staff, and make any supporting public statements that are authorized to help this administration move disclosure forward. Ready to support Stephen Miller, Vice President Vance, and the administration immediately to identify the records, programs, and people involved and bring any improperly concealed activities back under lawful presidential and congressional oversight. Mr. President, give us the authorization and we're ready to go.
Okay, so basically these videos came out recently of James Fox produced them with different whistleblowers, including David Grusch, which I just showed you, Matthew Brown, Jeff Nusatelli, sorry. Yep. Pleading with Trump and the administration, right, to sort of allow them and protect whistleblowers, right? Allow them to come forward and say what they need to say and to protect whistleblowers and all these things, right? Immunity, right? I'm just assuming it just all kind of mixed together, and a plea to the administration. And so in this clip, what is interesting is Grusch, again, talking about these unofficial smoking guns he's seen, the photos and video evidence, right? That's what I'm taking away from that whole thing he said. I don't really care about everything else he said. That's what I focused on. Photos and video evidence of these UFOs and the non-human occupants, right? And the retrieval of them, he's saying, even. Mm-hmm. Unofficially, he gets this. It's just so unusual for Grusch to say, to get these in an unofficial way. I'm just saying.
Now, official,
exfiltrated out.
Official or unofficial?
Unofficial.
I'm saying doesn't matter to me.
Oh yeah.
With what Grusch is doing specifically, and I support it. I feel like it's the beginning of something. Even if Grusch got his way, he didn't say release to the public. He said to Congress, release to the people who need to investigate this stuff. So what are we waiting for? We should release it for the investigation. They'll figure out if he's lying or not, because they'll be able to pull the thread by having the information declassified to find out what's really the truth that he figured out or what isn't the truth.
Why hasn't nobody commented on the photos and videos? He said he's shown them to other people, right? So like, why haven't they come out to be like, I've seen it. It's fucking crazy, right? I want to hear somebody else's reaction to the evidence.
Well, Tim Pritchett did say he's seen stuff that would scare the pants off of you and things like that.
But that was before. This is, these photos and videos he just got. He just got these this
that's
summer.
Fair. Again, them being unofficial, it becomes almost like hearsay. But either way, it should be investigated. What are we waiting for? What are we stopping?
I agree. I say show it to the public. If you got it unofficially, how did he verify that they were actually official document? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of these, got to trust who's giving you the stuff. And, to be fair, people have asked for these type of videos. Let's give photos and videos of the crash retrievals and the UFOs and the bodies. And he's saying he's seen that smoking gun. In fact, he has it.
Well, if he's gotten these unofficially,
what are we doing? Why does anything else matter? He's saying he has the smoking gun evidence to prove it all.
And if he got them unofficially, then they're not classified. So he can release them at any time.
Exactly. Either they're classified and he got classified stuff, which he shouldn't have gotten, right? Which means he would have broke the law, or they're not classified and he should be able to release them to the public.
That's right. I mean, if he's working with congressmen right now on their payroll, he should at least be able to talk to them about it, have them bring it into.
Hey guys, that whole thing we've been working on lately, UAP, I got the stuff. You know what I mean? I got the,
Burlison hiring him is the smartest thing ever. Keep him close and let's hear everything he has to say.
I just think if nothing happens about this photo and video evidence he's talking about, you know what I mean? If it doesn't come out, if it doesn't move the needle, it's like, this is some bullshit.
Now I got a counter to it though.
Okay, real quick, because we got to move on to the next thing.
Go ahead. The counter would be, if he is putting out government propaganda and he's counterintelligence, why wouldn't they just say yes? Go ahead. We're saying yes to you releasing the stuff. So that also works into the PSYOP theory of, is David Grusch actually a real whistleblower, or is he also pushing the narrative that the government wants us to hear, whether he's involved or not?
I think he's believes what he's seen. I think behind the scenes, Grusch was even asking for shit. Like, even I'm getting tired that I haven't seen really anything. Mm-hmm. I've been told a lot of things and I'm trusting a lot of people, but you know what I mean? Things are moving. I want to know what's going on. Am I getting played?
But he could be getting played by Paul Benowitz did with Richard Doty.
Well, what my point is this, is that behind the scenes, he starts putting pressure through official channels to get things from people that had told him things, right? And they can't provide him anything. So what do? They provide Grusch with some unofficial stuff. And now he buys into that. I think Grusch is following along, but how good is the stuff they showed him that it convinced him, and to keep him going with it? I don't know. I don't see Grusch as a liar. But I think we never get to see what convinces him so much of things, right? That's the problem. We never get to see that thing. How did you interpret this? So I don't know. I just don't know where this goes from here. Anyway.
And one last thing. The interesting thing about military people is they're seeing these things, but through what lens? What makes them an expert to even look at these things and determine anything differently than we would as normal people?
Good point. All right, next clip, Eric Burlison.
My name is Eric Burlison. I'm a Republican congressman from Missouri and a member of the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. We continue to receive credible claims of recovered craft, of non-human origin, and reverse engineering programs that may have operated for decades outside of any government oversight. Those claims point to specific facilities, contractors, records, and people. We continue to depend on whistleblowers to provide this critical information, but these whistleblowers are being terrorized. Mr. President, I'm asking for you to directly restore what many of these brave whistleblowers have already lost: their pensions, their clearances, and other benefits. Provide immunity for anyone and everyone who has already come forward and for those who will come forward. And now we ask that you open the doors and let them speak not only to Congress, but to the public. This is the moment. Use the authority that you have been given because the American people are behind you on this, and the time is now.
You know, it just feels like a little propaganda-ish. But, you know, it's fine. Whatever. If they're making videos, is it going to help? Yeah, I don't know. Right. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to see this stuff. Like, it's like, do whatever you're going to do. Do these things you keep saying is going to bring it. Eventually, the truth will come out one way or the other. Whether people accept it or not is another thing. And it is what it is. You know, I don't know.
You know,
like Eric Burlison.
I was going to say, it's hard to say that you like any politician, but if you're going to pick one, Burlison is going to be on the top of my list because number one, he is trying to move the narrative forward, even if it's a political move or a reason to have talking points. It's something he's interested in personally, and he's made it part of his platform. So I'll support that. It's about time that this topic got put into the narrative of politics. It doesn't have to be a partisan issue. It just has to be one that's talked about. So again, I don't know if this does anything except get it more out there of what he supports, because I don't know if this really moves the needle at all.
Well, this is also about the waiving of the NDAs and all of that too, to bring these people forward and let them speak freely, right? Because they keep saying their hands are tied behind their back. So him and other people are trying to untie their hands, right? Is it enough? Some of these people are pushing back on things that Burlison is doing. If you think about it, they're coming out saying, it's not enough. I need this done, right? You had Eric Davis say, I need this done as well, and this and that. So look, let me read real quick the official statement from Burlison about this waiving of NDAs. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence Preliminary Guidance for waiving UAP-related NDAs is opening up an important opportunity for individuals with relevant information to come forward. If you are a current or former government employee or contractor who has UAP information or has questions about how to pursue an NDA waiver, my office is here to help shepherd you through the process. We've launched a new whistleblower form to make it easier to contact my office and get the assistance you need. Well, there you go. So everyone should at least be reaching out. Well, they don't necessarily have to go forward, but at least be reaching out, finding out what's going on, right? Trying to do something, you know, I don't know.
Here's another reason I support this. Because when we talked about the last clip, I said, how many people do we care about that are high up and say they have info? I could name 10. Yeah. So if this opens the floodgates, maybe we're going to know if the number is 20 people, 200 people, or 2,000 people.
If thousands of people came forward like, hey, I want to get, that would be a big deal.
And he would be able to say, I have 2,000 people on a list that want to come forward. Sure. That would be a bigger sway than I have 20.
Sure. I agree. That's a good point. Yeah, this is one of these things where just wait and see what happens. But I have seen some whistleblowers put out some statement that they're not really happy with it. It's like, what are we supposed to do here? You know, you're not going to get everything you want. So I don't know.
Well, everything with politics and government is baby steps. The wheel turns slowly.
Grusch is supporting this, but some of the other whistleblowers are not. So like, I mean, I don't know what you want, right? I don't know if they're agreeing what's happening, but regardless. All right, we got to move on to the next thing, Gino, because we're spending too much time here. This is my fault. Okay, I'm blabbing too much. All right, let's go to the next thing. This is Avi Loeb. Our favorite Harvard astrophysicist.
The UAP Science Advisory Council fully supports requests made by David Grusch, Eric Davis, and others for the Trump administration to provide legal assurances, including immunity where necessary, for current and former government employees and military personnel, so that they can share information with the Council regarding alleged technology from a non-human origin and help guide the Council's scientific evaluation. In parallel, the Council is currently pursuing efforts to obtain and scientifically evaluate historical UAP records, and legacy data.
I need you to explain to me what he just said.
Okay. He said that he supports the whistleblowers coming forward. That's basically what I heard.
Okay. Well, now that he's going to have a position
At the UAP Science Advisory Board.
yeah,
Right.
His opinion matters. So he's supporting this,
Yeah.
which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like he is I like him as a
Sure.
person.
I've had him on the show a few times.
We've had him on the basement.
Yeah.
I like him as a person. I don't know if this seems more like the word propaganda might be too negative, but
I mean, he's reading something there. It's kind of like Burlison. It's kind of just everyone showing their support for this movement, right? Please come forward.
right.
I think they're trying to send a message to what you said, basically, to get as many people to come forward about this as
Right.
possible, who may have information. So does this, if you're a whistleblower sitting in next to the UFO eating your sandwich at lunch break and you see Avi Loeb give that message, does that make you want to come forward and drop everything? Holy shit, did you just see Avi Loeb? He just said he supports us. Let's go.
Now the
Let's
problem,
go, Jimmy. Let's get out of here.
the
Let's
problem
go blow the lid.
if they open up these doors and they do get that 2,000 names, are those 2,000 people paranoid enough to think now their name's on a list and now they're going to be part
Sure.
of who
Something
gets
they're
hunted
watching.
down, or
I mean,
have to
you'd worry about that.
So every bad thing that happens in their life from that point on, they will blame on their being targeted.
Then there's nothing you can do, right, about that. So, but what if it went the other way? What if only 3 people reached out?
We got to hear what those 3 people
No, but
said.
I'm just saying, would that mean the opposite of like, you would take it more serious if a lot of people reached out? Would you take it less serious if less people reached out?
If 3 people reached out,
That would be
and they
concerning.
told us that only 3 people reached out,
That'd be
yes,
concerning.
I'd be concerning. And then I'd be back to, I got to hear what Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff have to say.
Yeah. All right. Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff.
Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, Jay Stratton. Who else?
Jay Stratton, look, they're going to have a hearing soon after Jay Stratton's book comes out, and they're going to do another hearing, and Jay Stratton's going to go up and testify. I'm calling it now.
And Lecats.
And they're going to have, and his book will get promoted and all this shit. It's all a setup. It's all just some bullshit, if you ask me. And if it's not, if there is something real behind it, there's just some bullshit in front of it, then that fucking sucks. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it didn't have to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there is real disclosure happening, and people are delaying it on purpose for their own financial shit just to get books out and stuff before it actually goes public.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, think about it. That would not be good for Jay Stratton's book or anyone else's book that would be coming out soon if disclosure happened. If we find out aliens are real tomorrow, no one's going to give a fuck. Not as big a fuck.
I agree and disagree, I guess. I understand your point, but
It depends how much of their truth related to the real truth.
right.
Does that make sense?
It wouldn't be a bombshell for Jay Stratton.
Yeah.
So we don't support non-bombshells. So we
Yeah.
want the bombshell. Give
That's
it
true.
to us, Jay.
We don't support non-bombshells.
We got. There's a show to do here. We need the bombshells.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the next wave coming. Jay Stratton, his book, testifying. There'll be a whole new wave. But yeah, I'm curious where this goes. All right, let's move on to the next clip.
Look, I know David Grusch extremely well for 5 years. Speak to him regularly. And I know, in fact, Eric Davis, who actually repeated exactly what David has said about supposed bodies. I've not seen any of these pictures, etc. And I don't know either of them that I've ever caught in a live. So they believe what they're saying. I can only, though, I can as a person believe what it is that they say, but as a scientist, I can't repeat it. And so we're left in this limbo of not knowing what it is that the past is, except it's the same report has been made so many different times, seemingly not a circular rumor mill, but coming independently.
Well, I don't know if that's true. That's circular reporting. But regardless, So he's basically saying you hear these things from David Grusch, seen photos, videos, but as a scientist, where's the proof, right? Like he's also saying, where's the proof from this stuff? But something interesting there, he said he's known David Grusch for 5 years. So that goes back to 2021. That's 2 full years before Grusch ever came out.
That's interesting.
Right.
And Garry Nolan, by that clip alone, would make me judge that everything he has seen for himself has never convinced him. And Garry Nolan has gone to a crash site. So that's interesting that...
Well, he's also had experiences when he was a kid.
And so that's interesting to me that he would say it in that fashion.
Yeah. I just think it's still, to go back to what I was saying before, I just still think it's such an interesting move that that David Grusch got those photos and videos in unofficial channels. I just still think that's so interesting because everything else he does by the book. Even if you could, he's saying, I heard it from this guy, I didn't see. He's always saying it's behind the scenes and, in his in a formal capacity. And for him to get that evidence in an informal capacity, I personally think it's Skywatcher. That's what I think it's coming from. Jake Barber, Skywatcher, some of these guys. I think that's probably from Jake Barber because he got it exfiltrated out, right? You had the dead drop video to Eric Burlison, the Hellfire missile, right? You also had, so the same way, got a dead dropped, right? That's what Grusch is saying. That's how he gets this shit, basically. Eric Burlison gets the same way, Hellfire missile video. Then also the egg video from Jake Barber. That was also, they had to go dig it up in a flash drive in the snow. Newsnation did, right? Dead dropped. And if you want to go back to 2017, that's allegedly how Chris Mellon, allegedly from Lou Elizondo, got the videos dead dropped out, right, to him. So I'm just saying, I think Jake Barber's involved with the stuff that David Grusch has seen from the dead dropping or exfiltrated out. So maybe Grusch has seen the crash retrieval, another egg video. It's the alien bodies that's interesting because the craft we could talk about all day long. Is that I don't know what that, but bodies. If that's pretty apparent in the video, you know what I mean? That's just what's interesting to me. But clearly, what's Garry Nolan going to say?
Well, everything that is dead dropped is not vetted. So
100%.
And if you were running a business, you would have some kind of standard operating procedure of how you would go about making sure you're not getting fooled or anything like that. There's nothing like that in these dead drops. So is there a reason to believe any of the dead drop evidence over anything else? It doesn't make sense. In fact, that should certainly be able to be looked at by everyone. If it's dead dropped, what is the holdback anyway? I don't understand the holdback. Are they protecting sources? No, it was dead dropped to them. So what are they protecting? Are they protecting the American people from seeing it before Congress? Why does Congress need to see it? Why can't it? I don't understand the security of dead dropped information when we're talking about needing some kind of government approval to release this to Congress. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, you would think that those are all great points. And you would think that Congress would already, like the military would be activated if it was real. If those photos were enough to activate the people he showed it to immediately, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit, this is what the fuck, like, get on this shit. You would see activate. They wouldn't have even recorded those videos. Because when those videos were recorded, Grusch has already shown this. These things have already happened. So they wouldn't even be trying to get people to come forward. They've already got the thing you need people to come forward about. What's so those photos and videos must not prove anything about anything. And, you were just making a good point, actually, before I rudely interrupted. The reason could be because they're unofficial. They're like, dude, we can't. They look great, but what they didn't come official. Like, we can't, you know what I mean? What's the chain of custody here? Like, they're not vetted. We can't, there's nothing we can do about this. We can't move on this.
So I that's a question I would like to ask David Grusch face to face, is to get a direct answer of why can't you, like, what is stopping you here? Why are you trying to get it to Congress only?
Why
Now,
not
I
release
understand
it
you
to
want
the
to
public?
get it to Congress because these things have convinced you.
Sure.
But why are we not also getting it to the public if they're not classified and it's not, and you're not protecting sources?
Exactly.
Or is it video that if anyone sees it, they're going to know exactly where it came from and trace it back? And if that case, why is it dead drop? Because you already know the source.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many questions around it. Because what happens is you're shocked by the idea of it. So it's almost like it's a blinding light. So they don't want you to see around the edges and ask any other questions. That's how I'm just like, dude, we need more information. What's happening? That's all I'm focused on is the photo and video evidence. Anyway, okay, let's move on. This is Matthew Brown. Recently did an AMA subreddit thing with Leslie Kane and Jeff Nucatelli. Is it Nucatelli or Nucatelli?
Nucatelli.
Nucatelli. My apologies. And I've got a few different clips from that. So let's take a look at clip number 1.
Let's take the hypothetical one step further. Let's say the person didn't just have oral testimony. Let's say they had actual concrete evidence, like a video or real documentation of the reality of, let's say, alien bodies or something like that. Would that be would that change anything? And they released it to the world somewhere else. Like, it would still be the same problem, right?
Again, we live in the age of, even before AI, CGI, videos apparently don't matter to the majority of people. You would, again, let your own government know that you have real stuff because they track it and would be aware that, you're in possession of information. But it wouldn't create social change. It wouldn't create political change. You would be a footnote in history and probably end up in a cell or in the bottom of the ocean pretty quick.
Right.
Unfortunately, the best option, and it's not a good option, is to stay here in your home and fight it out through the means that are provided to us. It's uncomfortable. There's not a lot of support. And who knows which way the political winds blow next for UAP whistleblowers. But fleeing to a different country and doing something like that is not acceptable.
Okay, so I'm a little confused by that. Is he saying, was Leslie Kane asking if he wanted to flee to a different country and release some video evidence? Is that the premise? Or was it just, would video evidence mean anything to anybody?
That's the way I took it.
That's what I took too. But then there's the comment about moving to a different country and.
Yeah.
Well, let's just focus on would video evidence, because we were just talking about it, would that actually prove anything to anybody? I have my own thoughts, but what are your thoughts?
My thought is it wouldn't prove anything. We're talking about Project Bluebeam. The story is out there. The story about it's coming next year. The mothership might be coming. All these stories have already come out and been part of the narrative. So if any of it was true and there was a mothership coming, or there was going to be a war of the worlds, or something appeared in our skies, even the people within this UAP community would question it because of stories like Project Bluebeam and other.
You're saying any photos or videos if they came out?
It doesn't matter. And you and I had this conversation just earlier today. No matter what evidence comes out, if it didn't happen to me personally, I still have to look at it and decide, is there a truth?
But if they're coming through official channel, like in the tranches, right? Then what's the point of the tranche? Basically, Matthew Brown is kind of insinuating that even the tranches don't matter. Any of those photos, video, what does it matter? Why even release it? Why even work to put that shit out if it doesn't fucking matter? So he's, you know what I mean? But I think if it came out through official channels, these videos, and there was a chain of custody, I would believe it. I would be more keen to believe it than it came unofficially and just, you know what I mean, just appears. That's where you start to question the validity and the veracity of it. But if the government does a fucking press conference and Trump's like, here's the video of, I mean, come on, right? Doesn't that seem more believable?
So I feel like there's
that could be convincing.
There are parts of that equation that have something on the other end of the equal sign there. We have the videos and photographic evidence that we would like them to accept and be told officially to the people that they're true. However, I don't think what the government will ever do is say, these are non-human intelligence. I think they could talk about, hey, these are real things.
Yeah.
But I don't think they could.
We don't know what they are.
I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So when you said why even do it, the reason why to do it is we need to get the officials to say, actually, guys, we do believe this is a real thing. We do know we need to put everything we have into this, because if this is real, and a lot of people are accepting it as real, it really does create something more important than our curiosity, which is, is there a threat? And number one, if there's a threat, we need to address that. Number two, if there's no threat and it's just science, we need to be going full force forward to figure out what that science is, because it's world-changing science. So it's one of those two things, that disclosure and acceptance of these things being truths changes. And neither of those two are being addressed. We are not actively and publicly addressing it as a threat, and we're not actively and publicly addressing it as science that we're unaware of. Those two things change the entire world.
If you're on the inside, I wouldn't really recommend reporting anything at this point. It seems to be quite a hostile environment. It was, for a brief period of time, somewhat opened, but that's, years in the past. So unless you have ironclad proof of wrongdoing, and we're lucky enough to obtain recordings of that wrongdoing and can obtain a lawyer to defend you through years of court cases, and can identify trustworthy parties at the FBI or a similar law enforcement body to bring your complaint to, unfortunately, I think you're better off trusting your long-term coworkers, your let's just say groups that you might be involved with, if possible, and playing it safe.
So that's interesting. That's Matthew Brown telling whistleblowers basically not a good time to come forward. Don't come forward. It's not good out here. Right.
Which is direct opposite of Burlison, who is saying, hey, let us know.
That's what I mean. Even Grusch, hey, come on out. We've set up this thing for the NDAs. Come see us. Come this, come that. Everyone's saying come out. And Matthew Brown saying it's not worth, don't come out. If anything, Matthew Brown should want whistleblowers to come out because it would help prove his story. If someone comes out and proves disclosure, you're more likely to believe Matthew Brown's story and then start opening him up. Everybody, it would help every whistleblower if the one that could prove it all would help the rest of them.
But you have to take into account Matthew Brown's personal story as opposed to the UFO stuff.
Yes.
So he lived through something that he wouldn't want other people to live through.
Correct.
Regardless of what the outcome of the truth of what they're saying comes out. So I think I understand what Matt Brown is saying. And of all whistleblowers, Matt Brown is one of the few that I put some credibility into.
I just think, why say that? I just think, these whistleblowers aren't stupid. They've already told their stories. Like, I don't know.
That says to me that he wishes he would have taken a different direction.
Well, it shows me that he wishes he had recordings of what happened, proof of what happened. That's what he's getting at. He wishes he had these things because he's saying these things, but he doesn't have indisputable proof. That's what it shows me. Looking at, he's projecting what he wishes he had as a whistleblower.
And if the gatekeepers are some secret government that's above our real government and are financially backed unbelievably that you can't even fathom with your mind, how is one person who's trying to whistleblow going to be able to fight against the resources that are against them?
100%. Well, that's what the whole point of the waiving the NDAs and come on in. I mean, Matthew Brown, basically, if Burlison was there, wouldn't he say, no, dude, people can come in. They'll be fine. They don't need all this things you're telling them they need.
Yeah.
This will be an easier process.
But I don't think Burlison or anyone could say you'll be fine because we don't know what the threat is.
I mean, sure. But
there
then
is
what's
a
the
human
point?
threat in this.
Then nobody's ever going to come forward then.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's kind of an endless, you're asking for things that, not you, but the general you, asking for things that can never be provided.
But there is a human threat in this. And
of course.
There is a cover-up that we haven't been able to figure out what the cover-up is actually for. Is the cover-up for technology? Is the cover-up for money? Is the cover-up for aliens? Is the cover-up for secret relationships between societies that we're unaware of? There is a cover-up of a great magnitude that I don't think most people understand, because they just say the government. I think it's a very small faction of the government, and most of the government is gone, we don't know what this stuff is, just like you guys don't know what this stuff is. I think it's a very small faction.
All right, no, I like that. I would agree with that. All right, last clip of Matthew Brown.
Part of that operation was designed to fabricate evidence for myself and Dylan Borland and others committing treason and espionage against the United States government, charges that carry, in the extreme, the death penalty. Those charges, those files, those documentations have not gone anywhere. In fact, the agent responsible for this, again, shameful operation, after it was exposed to the public, it received a promotion to the Intelligence Community Inspector General, where they now actually oversee all UAP whistleblower intake, past, present, and future. A very compelling reason to not trust really any organization right now with UAP whistleblower testimony, as long as these actions have not been redressed.
All right, so basically Matthew Brown is saying the person that tried to set him up and Dylan Borland and maybe others is now got a promotion and is now, the filter through all UAP whistleblowers that would come forward. They'd have to go through this guy. So they're basically saying they don't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you have people like Grusch and Burlison saying, no, come see that guy. So something's not adding up there. But then they also say they trust David Grusch. So which is it? What's happening? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And if that guy falsely tried to accuse them of treason, how's he getting promoted? Don't they have good enough evidence to prove that?
I would think that Matthew Brown is a small piece of that guy's career. So I don't think that becomes anything that would stop his career from being promoted. We have to deal with, all right, so that person that he's speaking about, what is he involved in? Is he involved in finding out the truth? Is he involved in putting out fake truth to the people? Is he involved in the psyop of getting these fake truths to whistleblowers? Is he involved in hiding the straight truth from everyone? What is his actual job? Is his job to find out these stories? Okay. But what is the directive after that? We'll never really know what the truth is. Is the directive to get these stories because we need to know if they're true, because we need to spin them our way, because we're hiding something, or are we unsure at all and we just need someone collecting these things, and this guy in his government position thought this was the right move because maybe he really thought they were committing treason. There's also that.
I mean, 100%. Has Jeremy Corbell commented on if he thinks people should go to this waived NDA thing? If he's saying they should go in, does he support this?
I don't know if
I've seen him post on it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. I'd be curious to hear Jeremy's, because it sounds like there's different takes here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It sounds like some of these guys, Jeff Nusatelli, Matthew Brown, Dylan Borland, they don't want this waived NDA thing. They don't support that. They don't think whistleblowers should come out. They've been saying they don't think whistleblowers should come out. Meanwhile, you have, again, Grusch, Burlison, other people, everyone else saying, whistleblowers, come forward. We need you to come forward. That's the whole point of all of this for disclosure. How can Matthew Brown and Dylan Borland be saying, don't come forward? That's the whole point of disclosure. We need people to come forward to help prove this. What do they expect to happen? What are they expecting people to do this entire time? Just lay everything down? That's what this whole fight has been, is to make it safe for people to come forward.
I think they both want the same thing, exactly what you said. They wanted to make it safe for people to come forward, but I think that Jeremy Corbell and Matt Brown are on the same side there, that they don't feel like there's enough safety for it, even in what Burlison is doing.
But Grusch is saying there is.
Grusch is saying that there is. I think that Jeremy Corbell, through watching what happened with Matt Brown and some of these other whistleblowers, also feels like it's probably not safe enough and there needs to be more safeguards for these people
to come forward. All right, that's fair. All right, let's go to Robert BIgelow.
How do you know who you're talking to at the ranch? And with mediums, how do you know who you're talking to?
So Eric Davis and Colin Kelleher were on the ranch, and everybody kind of knows about this particular event. And Colin is there. It's nighttime. It's maybe kind of there's ambient light, because Eric is drawn to something that's commingled in the tops of the very tall cottonwood trees. They were maybe 50 feet, 60 feet high. Colin is watching these balls of light bounce around near the little creek bed where the Russian olives are, on the grassy area of the ranch there. And so he's distracted, and Eric gets this telepathic communication. We see you. We are aware of you. Something to that event. The interesting thing to me isn't so much that. That's not so. That isn't what's interesting. That it occurred telepathically, or that they said that, and they are aware that that's going to be reported. What they said, because they knew why we were there. What's interesting is they didn't say, "We want you to leave immediately," or just flat, "Leave now. Leave this area now." That wasn't what was said.
Okay, so BIgelow. So he says that Eric Davis telepathically communicated with an orb at Skinwalker Ranch, and it said, "We're watching you," or something along those lines. And BIgelow's like, that's not the most interesting part, that it telepathically communicated. It's that it didn't tell them to leave. So, like, it was being cool. It wasn't telling them to get out of here.
Well,
I don't know.
I would interpret that slightly different.
Okay, yeah. What was your interpretation?
So here's the thing. Me and you don't know about telepathy. We'd like to. Psionics is interesting. But
What are you talking about, bro? I got powers.
We don't. You might have powers. So if you have powers, maybe you'll understand this point then. Okay. However, Eric Davis is communicating telepathically. They're not using the English language. They're getting a message that's instantly interpreted into his brain. So if Eric Davis is relaying it as, "They didn't tell me to leave," we know you're there and not telling you to leave. It may just be like someone walking by, and I know this is utilized too much in the alien world, but walking by and noticing an anthill. Well, I'm not going to tell the ants to leave. I noticed the anthill.
So you think it could be just they noticed and were like, "You're nothing." Like,
we're doing something.
Like, what's the point? Yeah, we're on a mission.
Whatever the things are that are here. If we're talking about,
but they said we're watching you. Would you turn to the anthill and say we're watching you?
No, but
it's
telepathy. So there is no. It could be we're watching you because they were watching them.
Do you think Eric Davis read the thought of the thing instead of it was telling him something? Because it sounded like they gave him like, "We're watching you," which is, again, what does that even mean? It's so stupid. I don't know.
I think when we're talking about telepathy, again, it's not sentences. So I think he is just interpreting what is being conveyed to him.
Yeah.
but he is
Sounds
conveying
kinky
that it's
for
not
Cocoa
a negative
Puffs.
light, like, hey, you got to get out of here or be scared. Because
Yeah.
again, if an ant seen a human walk over their anthill, they would notice that the person is looking at them because they might be staring right at them.
Yeah.
And does the ant have to be afraid? If the guy isn't stamping on the anthill, maybe the ant doesn't have to be afraid. And that's conveyed in the kind eyes that are looked at as he goes along and smells flowers or whatever he's doing when he noticed the anthill. Again, I'm not sure that we understand telepathy. I'm not sure that BIgelow understands telepathy enough to explain that way.
We don't know what happened.
Because emotions, because that was an emotion. He was looking for something emotional in a telepathy response.
Yeah. He was looking
Which
for
would be
what
run-
wasn't said.
is there
Like
fear.
Exactly. Should we get out of here? You know, they like us here. They whatever. Yeah.
And that's why studying psionics and telepathy is interesting, because it's those type of questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
How is emotion coming over if telepathy is real?
Yeah.
Is telepathy just a simple exchange of the English language? It's not. It has to, it's always defined as something different.
Why weren't they speaking Spanish? And then Eric Davis was like, I don't know what they said. They said something about tacos.
Right. So that's not how, so telepathy should be just thoughts.
Yeah.
And so
you get ideas.
So you're getting that idea and interpreting it through your personal filter, and then
I mean,
giving
we
it-
think this is how it works.
And then Eric
we-
Davis is explaining how he felt from that download to Bob BIgelow. I don't
Maybe.
And I think, however, he's explaining that telepathic connection, whatever words he's using, it's not enough to really explain it. As someone who thinks about it a lot, it's hard. It creates 3 hours of questions for me just on that one telepathic exchange.
Well, of course, because then you would ask yourself why, and we got to move on to the next clip, but I can't let this go. Like, you would also ask, why would that intelligence being, they're going to communicate with you? They know that that's going, if they're so advanced, they would know that would be an absolute shock for you to be telepathically communicated with when that's never happened. And they're just going to give you this one out-of-pocket message. We're watching it. For what purpose? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense from an advanced civilization point. Like, don't say anything. Don't telepathically communicate anything. Why send any message? Unless you're going to send a message that explains a lot more, right? Why isn't Eric Davis responding back? Who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, man? I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Last thing, because we've got to move to the Danny Sheehan clip. But go ahead.
It was never conveyed that Eric Davis was giving a telepathic response. He was only receiving.
I understand, but I'm saying, why wouldn't you ask what's going on? But anyway, Danny Sheehan, our favorite UFO lawyer.
There is a new warfighting vehicle that is launched by a rocket, is launched into orbit, and it has warfighting capacity to be able to be mobile in space. Okay, and they've been assigned specifically to interdict and stop UFO entrance into our planet. Okay, and now you say, now that's a fool's errand, perhaps, but on the other hand, so are a lot of the other things that they're doing. How about bombing Iran? How about deploying a third of our entire carrier force into the Mediterranean or in surrounding Iran? I mean, these are all fool's errands, and this operation is going on right now. Okay, and that they're training the pilots out there at Peterson Air Force Base, or excuse me, Space Force Base. That these are combatant pilots now that are being deployed to track down and interdict and intercept these UFOs. Because that's what they think their job is. They think that's the assignment that they've been given, and that's ridiculous. And because I've never taken any security clearance, and I haven't taken any non-disclosure agreements, I'm perfectly free to tell people about that. Now, this may be giving willies to people going, oh no, he's talking about military deployment operations. This is treasonous in some sort. It's not treasonous at all. That I am more loyal to the Constitution of the United States than any of these other people are, because they've taken an oath to something else. They've taken an oath to superior command gatekeepers. All right.
Okay. So did you get the gist of that?
Yeah, I
What's
have
he
to
saying?
unpack it a little and ask you a few questions.
Okay.
He mentioned that these pilots are being trained through the Space Force. Are they being trained on military aircraft or military spacecraft? And what weapons are they talking about utilizing to take down these? What are they being trained on? In what capacity? And thirdly, he has to explain how he got this information.
Yeah, all good questions. I don't know the answers to any of that. He doesn't say any of that, so who knows? But they're trained to shoot down UFOs. I agree. All those questions you have, same questions. How's this happening? What are they training in? We have spacecraft, military spacecraft we can fly around in. Are we shooting lasers? Is the Star Wars out there? I mean,
we've witnessed a Hellfire missile not be able to take out a UAP.
Well, first of all, and how many times is this happening? Are they getting it like coming in from the sun and they're shooting it and it's floating in space, or are they waiting till it gets to our atmosphere? Are we space crash retrievaling now? Is that part of it? It's expanded. Crash retrievals happen in space as well. I don't think that's ever come out before. That'd be interesting. Is that what's happening? I mean, again, you hear something like that and you go, you have all these questions and we don't know where this information's coming from. He didn't sign an NDA. I agree. He was telling them this shit.
I mean, I came across with the thought in my head, which seemed obnoxious to me, that we're talking about pilots being trained who are in orbit, flying around.
That's what I'm getting.
To
It's in
intercept
space.
before they get to our atmosphere.
Correct.
And number one, the Earth is so big, we would need so many pilots. Like, you couldn't protect the whole Earth.
Yeah, they could come in from so many different angles. Infinite angles.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And if we're not talking about pilots in space, if we're talking about pilots just at high altitude, then also what are we talking about? Well, are they...
How quickly are they
scrambled?
responding?
Right. Are they scrambled? Do we have them? How
Are
do
they at a base and then they get called out?
Right. And what is the time frame for that? Hey, we see something's coming into our atmosphere.
Takes 7 minutes to get piloted up and get out there and
Exactly.
Yeah, what's the response
What's
time?
the scramble time?
Yeah.
And then what happens at that point? They are
what
chasing. They are observing.
No, he's saying they're shooting them down.
So,
and then again, how are they retrieving them? What are they retrieving? How many times has this happened?
Are they successful?
This has to have been recent.
Right. He didn't say they were successful at shooting them down.
Well,
He said they're being trained to
I guess
do
that's
this.
a good point. Maybe they haven't shot anything yet.
Right.
They're just for a what if scenario.
And he said that they're training these soldiers who believe that this is a possibility.
Yeah, that aliens may come in.
That they may come in and that shooting them down is a possibility.
I mean, to be fair, that's not a crazy thing to be training for. If you think about like, okay, I'd be down to just in case something happened, you train some pilots. But I don't think that's the indication here. I think the insinuation is that they are shooting things down and there's a reason they're training them to do it because of alien, right? If this was someone other than Danny Sheehan, I'd probably go that route. That's just like a what if scenario.
Yeah.
But this is coming from Danny Sheehan. So, all right,
I
last
also-
thoughts,
I'd
and then
al-
we'll move on.
Military-wise, when we're talking about craft, it would make more sense to me not to have human-piloted craft doing this job. So that's a little strange to me because I can't see how a human-piloted craft over the other type of craft that we've already created.
We said we have alien reproduction vehicles. And Dan Farah has said that he's been told that we're already flying spaceships in space. We're already flying around in space. So in the solar system. So what are we doing? What's going on here? This doesn't make sense. We already have spaceships flying around. What are we training these pilots for? Seems kind of ludicrous.
That opens up
waste of time.
So many questions that it's.
I thought we're time traveling with Tim Taylor and the Bahamas with T. Townsend Brown. I thought, again, you hear all these other stories and then you go, how can this be true? If people have said this and people have said this and people have said, that's the problem when you just start spinning so many stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got all the other countries and their stories. Their stories don't line up with how things are going.
Right.
Different messages have been told to different people in different countries, so, and they've got their own crash retrievals allegedly and own craft and what they think of the aliens and, so, you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on here? Something's not adding up.
Well, one of the things that never adds up to me in this, in everything about crash retrieval and secret programs and are we flying around the solar system, is that you can't keep secrets from everyone. And most people wouldn't keep secrets from their family, especially as they get old. And you can't stop people's...
Some shit would get out.
Things would get out. And how many people are we talking about? Are we talking about only 100 people in the whole world know about our secret program? That wouldn't make sense. We wouldn't be able to scale a 100-person secret program. We would need thousands of people to participate in this secret program. So if we were flying around the universe, I would think that it is not American citizens flying around the universe. If anything's flying around the universe that's human, it's a breakaway civilization, which is part of some of the things that we're seeing that somehow is in contact with our civilization.
Yeah.
So I do not believe it is the U.S. Army sending out ships to Jupiter.
It's the breakaway army.
It could be breakaway civilization.
Dude, that's our new series, Breakaway Army. Come on, that'd be a cool book series, story series. The Breakaway Army. Okay, well, that's it. I have one more video, but I don't want to play it. Okay. Well, that's it, Gino. We're done.
And we're done.
All right, y'all. We'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.